And we are back with the second day of quarter-final action in the Women's World Cup. And let me tell you, it is absolutely boiling in here. So much so that Mando's actually peeling off behind me. I can hear him falling off the wall. But the commitment to content continues, and we have got two more women's quarter-finals to talk about for you this evening, ahead of them being played in the early hours of tomorrow morning. And like I say, after a day where, I'll be honest, I was a little bit disappointed with the action I saw earlier. Yes, we did get the prediction correct of 2-1 to Spain, albeit in extra time. But then the Sweden-Japan game, we were all sort of hyped up for the Japanese story to continue. But sadly, in the end, even though I did go for a Japan win, I did sort of say my expectation was for Sweden to win. And they were just a little bit too strong for the Japanese in the end, which is a shame because we would like to have seen that story continue. But it is over for them, and it is two European sides into the semi-finals already, and we have got two more European sides looking to make it an all-European semi-final set-out, or lockout, should I say, in the semi-finals of this Women's World Cup. Before we get into it, as always, if you have not done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. Our first Premier League predictions of the season were posted first thing this morning, so make sure you go check out that video ahead of Manchester City against Burnley this evening. And let's just get straight into it. We start off with England against Colombia. I'm not so confident about England anymore, I've got to be honest. I've been increasingly more disappointed as this tournament's gone on. I had that little bit of relief when we beat China 6-1 in the final group stage game, but then it was like we just went back to not being very good against Nigeria again. And yes, I've spoken about the Nigeria game at length already, about the physicality, the work rate, the effort, and all the things that we just weren't really ready for. Colombia is going to be a very similar test. We are not accustomed to playing against South Americans in this country. We do have the odd one that comes over to WSL, but the majority of these players are not used to playing against players that play the style of play that Colombia do. So I'm not that confident. I just have to once again look at it as an on-paper situation and say England should beat Colombia. And as an England fan with an expectation of England winning, I can't go for any other prediction other than an England win. But I'm going to be a lot more cautious this time after what happened against Nigeria. I'm going to go 2-0 to England. I would expect Colombia not to be able to score against England, considering how good we are defensively. But look, they beat Germany, the team that we very narrowly beat in that Euros final last summer. So if they're capable of beating them, they're capable of beating us. But I have to go with my heart and a little bit of my head and say that England will end up taking this one. The other quarter-final, the final quarter-final, sees Australia, the host nation, taking on the French. And like I say, it's given that Spain and Sweden are already through. If England had already won their game before this one, France will have the opportunity to make it 4 teams out of 4 from Europe in the World Cup semi-final. And considering that England did actually win the Euros last summer, it would certainly fill me with a lot more confidence that we could go on and win the World Cup if all the remaining teams are from Europe, because we've already beaten them once before. But I think this is probably, if not the hardest game of the lot to call. Australia have been very good in this tournament. France have been scoring goals for fun in this tournament. I just think it's going to come down to who actually defends better in this game. And from what I've seen so far in this tournament, it is Australia that have defended the better out of the two teams. So I think it's going to be a very, very tight affair. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. But I'm going to go for 3-2 to Australia. And once again, like I said for the Spain-Netherlands game, it wouldn't surprise me if this was a 1-1 or a 2-2, maybe even a 3-3 going into extra time, and then there's a winner at a latter stage. But I just think Australia, at some point, will edge out the game. And obviously there's still that fitness issue surrounding Sam Kerr. It looks like she's not going to be fit enough to start, but should be fit enough for the bench, and she could make a huge impact should the game go into extra time. But that's the way I see it. England and Australia to join Spain and Sweden in the World Cup semi-finals. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you very much for watching as always. I'll see you again very, very soon.